Welcome back to the Snod Pod with John Snodgrass, your mortgage resource, where we're talking real estate, mortgages, and beyond. I'm back here with Ralf Walter, Realtor and Sales Manager of Riverwest Realty, a boutique real estate company on the east side of Milwaukee. Ralf, thanks for coming back and doing another episode with me.
Hey, thanks for having me, John.
So let's just start with, you've been in the business, 6-7 years now.
Yes.
I'm sure you've learned a lot. I guess, tell me, what would you, if you could go back in time with all you've learned, what would you tell your younger self? Hey, this is, to avoid all the hurdles. What would you tell yourself? Hey, do this and do that to be, great off the bat.
I would say to, a few different things. Being humble is one of the things because, that's just in anything you do in life, you always want to be humble with those kind of things. And another thing is one of the main things is listening. And that's involved asking questions, whether that's asking questions and talking to people that have done the job for a long time, talking to appraisers, talking to lenders, and just learn. And at the same time, you're learning about the life situation for every client that you have. So asking those questions and listening, that helps you, work things out and have a favorable outcome for all parties involved by listening.
I love it. Yeah, my wife's going to love this. She always says that I need to listen.
My girlfriend, when she sees this,
Ralf, why don't you do this in the relationship, Ralf?
Every day I can listen a little bit more. No. We're all the work in progress, though. Exactly. We're trying.
I'm trying every day. Honey, I'm trying. So, when you're meeting with buyers,
yes.
I guess what are the questions you're asking up front to find out, what their needs are? And tell me a little bit about that process.
You have your basic questions that you're asking about, their budget, where they want to live, those kind of things, but also your family situation, how many kids you have. Do you have any pets? Do you like doing yard work? All those kind of things. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Those are the kind of things that you want to ask people. Just try to find out what their situation is, where they lived currently, where they lived previously.
Mm-hmm.
Find out if people have lived, you never know. Somebody might have lived here 10 years ago. They might think that a certain area is the same as it was those 10 years ago. And you just kind of, update them on those things overall.
Sure.
Find out what their situation is, their family life situation, and then go from there.
Okay. And so is it, I'm assuming it's probably just, there's a different experience when dealing, questions with buyers versus sellers.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, every situation, every real estate transaction in itself is a different situation. Exactly. You're dealing with different homes. It's almost like a puzzle that you're trying to put together, and the puzzle has moving parts and involved with it.
I try to help.
Yeah, exactly.
When you need me.
You're a big part of the puzzle, and you're the corners. You start off on the border, but that's what it is. And every person is different, every home is different, every transaction for the most part is going to be different. So you want to be prepared, ask questions, and just try to put together that piece, that puzzle as best as possible.
Find out as much as you can so you can put together a game plan.
Exactly.
Hit the ground running and, get out and see some homes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Sometimes that puzzle ends up being a puzzle where you can't find a couple of those pieces, but at least you can tell that the product is finished and what the puzzle looks like in the end, and,
Yeah. I think I might do a puzzle tonight. But
keep it under 50.
So let's talk about, because I know you just had listed and I think sold a condo in my old building, the Edgewater Terrace. I loved it there.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about when you're dealing with a buyer, hey, because I get a lot of people like, when I ask them on my side of things, are you looking at condos or are you looking at single family homes or are you looking at duplexes? Sometimes they'll be like, I'm looking at all the above, or maybe just single family homes and condos. What kind of advice are you telling people when they are thinking about writing on a condo? Because it's a little bit different.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different. So some of the things that just jump out right away is obviously you're living in a community. You want to find out how condos work. There's associations. There's association fees.
Yeah.
All those things. There's special assessments. You might think that you have this certain condo fee, and that's the only extra charge you're going to have. But occasionally, an elevator might need some work, new blacktop in the parking lot. you have to be prepared for the possibility that
New
you can
windows,
have.
which I went through.
Exactly.
A big expense
Exactly.
before I moved out.
Find out what the association covers as far as your building, what's included. Occasionally, some of these different associations, they might, or condos, they might have heat included. A lot of times you run into that if a place used to be an apartment building and there's no way to control the heat in each individual unit. So you might hear about that. Oh, this condo fee is expensive, but find out what it includes.
Is the cable included?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All those kind
Air
of things.
conditioning.
Yeah, and overall, like, hey, does this fit your lifestyle? Do you what you can find with a condo? One of the advantages is that condos can be in a neighborhood or a location where if you were to buy a house, it could literally be 5 or 10 times that amount that you're paying.
Yeah.
But that's one of the good things about it. But, there's also the thing that you're living amongst other people. There's going to be noises. There might be dogs barking. You're sharing laundry. Do you like doing that? Is there laundry in the unit? All those kind of things as far as your preference. Is there green space? Is there a club room where you could have the occasional time? Yeah, either workout or occasionally, you have a fantasy football draft coming up and you want to invite some friends over or something like that.
Yeah.
Are you able to do those kind of things? And what does that entail?
Yeah.
As far as that goes? Another big thing, parking,
Yes.
Is parking included? Is it a deeded spot that's actually included?
Yeah. The shared space. So with Edgewater Terrace, as you know, there was the solarium
On the rooftop. Very cool.
When I was in my 20s, I had a couple parties up there, and I changed the name to the Snodarium. So I just thought I'd bring that up.
Let's just did you get your deposit back after having those parties?
Not the last one.
Not the last one? Okay.
I had a band up there. Things got a little wild, but I was 25.
Hey, it happens.
So let's talk a little bit about like investment properties now.
Sure.
So when you're dealing with an investor, are they local? I feel like I'm watching these shows, like people are coming in from out of state.
Yeah.
To start investing in properties. What's your approach, or how are things going? What are questions you're asking?
Yeah,
Tell me a little about that process where you're dealing with
Milwaukee in our market is known, and like a lot of other Midwest cities, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Cincinnati, Detroit even is starting to come around as far as those kind of things, where it's a place where it could make sense for people that are investors to buy properties and rent them. And, it can be a source of income for them, an investment opportunity as far as that goes. So with investors, you want to ask, hey, have you ever been to the city?
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
Do you
Come and visit?
Yeah, is this your first time doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot more to explain if it's your first time doing it. And, are you willing to come to the city?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to do these showings, or just find out how hands-on they are, what experience level they have, because there's a lot of people that just think that they can be investors, and it can be a very humbling experience if you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Do people lose a ton of money doing it? Not necessarily, but, you got to think, are you setting aside money for turnovers, and people moving in and out?
I wonder about like the outside the state, investors, because like Milwaukee's gotten so much good press in various magazines, like top 10, mid-sized cities, and it's such a great place to be. Like
exactly,
it's like I guess not necessarily going to get a bargain here. I guess I guess anything else you can bring up
there's always like the happy medium where you're there's definitely there's a lot of cool things happening in Milwaukee. We know this from living here, but also it's easily accessible on the internet to find out that, downtown is going through a revival. Northwestern Mutual moved all their, offices that were down in Franklin. They're moving all those people to that brand new building they built right near the lake.
Yeah.
Milwaukee Tool's expanding.
Right.
You can drive across the Home Bridge right now and you see 3 or 4 cranes. There's stuff and that's going on. The whole Deer District is a huge thing. They're doing a lot of stuff at the Grand Avenue. So a lot of the stuff where we used to drive through downtown, it used to be, almost nobody there after 5:30, 6 o'clock. A lot of that's starting to change. People are seeing it as a place where they want to work and they want to play. And with that, though, that creates, a new influx of people that want to live closer to downtown. And some of these places used to be more on the investor radar, and unfortunately, they're not anymore, because people that are not investors that are actually going to live in a place themselves tend to pay more. And one of the things you have to focus on is really paying attention to your numbers as an investor, and maybe finding the areas that are just outside of some of these hot areas where the taxes are actually higher too. Exactly. Stick to your plan.
Hey, I want to make this much. I can't. Hey, I like this neighborhood, but that's great. Maybe I can get close to the neighborhood.
Exactly.
And then stick to the numbers as an investor. Don't get sucked
exactly
into, hey, that coffee shop. I love that down the street, and my tenants would love that.
Exactly. So yeah, one of the things I like to tell them, are you interested in more upfront cash flow, or are you thinking long term? So long term return. Let's say that you're looking to maybe keep it for 10 years. There's certain areas that you can tell 10 years from now, this is more than likely going to be worth more than what it is. And then there's certain areas that you can be an investor in where you're like, hey, this is probably stagnant for overall appreciation, but at the price that I can get at right now, I'm going to cash flow, monthly, a lot better.
Yeah.
Lower taxes, all those things come into effect as far as that kind of stuff,
So what are some areas that in the city that used to be, cash flow plays, but have now kind of transitioned into more long-term appreciation? Hey, people are staying there and living there.
Yeah, that's
a little bit about that.
That's a good question. So, with us, and when we have buyers approach us, there's almost like there's a hot triangle right in Milwaukee, inside of the city, that used to be that prior to 2008, where you could still get places that might cash flow, but now there's so many people that want to actually live in these places because all the cool stuff that's happening.
What's the triangle?
The triangle is Washington Heights.
Okay.
That's one corner down to Bayview, and then the other corner is that East Side Riverwest area.
Okay.
And it tends to just be a lot of people where there's vibrant neighborhoods. You see the little libraries, you see neighborhood block parties, walkability, bike lanes, all those kind of things draw people in. And just in Riverwest, we just had a really cool event, the Riverwest 24, that the whole neighborhood kind of gets up for it. And there's costumes and people riding their bikes around, and it brings people from all over the country there. And living in those kind of places, are really, really important to people, and unfortunately taxes reflect that, and then just how desirable they are and the lack of inventory.
So it's going to be hard to cash flow if you're an investor in those areas. They're becoming more, primary homes now for people.
Exactly.
So you got to find other areas of the city that, hey, you got to see the long-term play. Hey, this is up and coming.
Yep.
You go here, 10 years from now, this is what, hey, this is where it looks like.
Exactly.
Is that kind of what you're...
Yeah, and a lot of those areas are almost like the next layer that you peel back right outside that hot triangle.
Got it. They're close to the hot triangle.
Exactly.
Well, it's a great nugget of information.
Definitely.
Cool. Well, hey, this has been awesome, man. Learned a lot on investment properties, and what investors are looking for, condos.
Sure.
You're talking to what you're talking to buyers about up front, man. This has been awesome, Ralph. I hope we can get you back another time.
Anytime, John.
To the Snod Pod, man. But it's been great to see you. I've got Ralf Walter here, Riverwest Realty Boutique, real estate company on the east side of Milwaukee. Ralph, thanks for coming in.
Anytime, John. Appreciate it.
This has been the Snod Pod with John Snodgrass, your mortgage resource, where we're talking mortgages, real estate, and beyond. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.